Hello, hello. Welcome wherever you are, and welcome to this talk by the lovely Rebekah from the Film Festival Doctor. Delighted to have you here today. Thank you so much for agreeing to give this talk, Rebekah. Let's maybe just start off by putting at ease. How are things with you?
Good, thank you. So hello from sweltering hot Texas, where I'm based. So it's proper. We have a proper summer here. It doesn't last one day. It lasts 4 months, and every day is 38 degrees. So, so there we go. So it's certainly outside brutally hot, but in a nice way because it's green. Green like grass, and the sky is so blue. It's so nice to see that. So I'm very grateful to be here and just now settling in and making my move here. So it's all good. Yeah, just adapting to the heat. It's a point where it's such a different type of heat that it makes you feel sick when you first get here. So you have to really just pace yourself. So now I'm at the point where I think I might have nailed it.
Yeah, well, it's very grey here in Britain. And actually the temperature change is more just because it's getting colder. So I think you've got the better deal, definitely. But yes. So I guess the way we're going to run this is we're going to encourage you to put comments in the chat. You can do this at any point on Facebook or on our YouTube channel. I will read those out towards the end, but I'm just going to let Rebekah launch into it. So, and I think without further ado, you don't want to listen to me, you want to listen to Rebekah, so off we go.
Thank you so much, Andy. We're big fans of the Oxford National Short Film Festival. We've got some really great films screening here, so don't miss The Hit, Handscape, and Hello Sunshine. We've got some other ones all over there, so some great stuff for you to see. So I hope you're enjoying the festival. And thank you for being here at today's Masterclass. So just to give you a bit of insight on me. So my name is Rebekah Louisa Smith, and I am a film festival strategist. And what I do is we help our clients get their films seen in festivals around the world and win awards. We've helped our clients win now over 1,000 awards, 1 Oscar nomination, several BAFTA long list, and several SAFTA awards in South Africa, where we're also well known. And I love what I do, full stop. This is my full-time job. I wouldn't do anything else but this. And I love just creating festival strategies for filmmakers, getting their films seen in the right places, in the right awards, and have a wonderful journey on the circuit and meet new people, grow their careers, and rise above the surface. It's absolutely wonderful, and I'm glad that you're part of this journey today. So today I'm going to talk about what I call my film festival submission process, and it's a checklist, and this is all free for you. So I'll tell you later on at the end and in the comments box where you can download this free checklist. But what I'm going to talk about today is the process and steps to take to really organize your strategy, and what to do first, what to do last, and what to be aware of. And this all came to this checklist like an epiphany moment, like overnight. It was a few months ago. And I remember a client came to me, and she's very, very, very sweet. And she said, "Oh, the film's almost finished. It's a picture log. It's got a bit more to go, but it's almost there. And then we're going to send it to Sundance." I was like, "Oh, why Sundance? Why is the rush and the pressure with Sundance?" And she said, "Well, you have to submit Sundance because everyone should. I know it's just one, it's a big festival, it'd be great to get in there." And she was saying things that were making me think alarm bells. Yeah, this is not the right way. Because before you submit to Sundance, and she did say, "It's one of my goals, it's on the wish list of festivals." I said, "Well, that's fine. But there's a real key thing to do first, and that's evaluation. You have to figure out if you have a film the festivals want, and if Sundance wants it." So that's how my checklist came together. So Andy, could you kindly share for me the checklist that I sent to you? We can show it to the audience. Okay, so this is what I created, my nice neon pink submission process checklist. Now this is free for you to download on my website. I'll give you the link to it at the end in the comments box, and it's free of charge. It's to put in your handbag and in your office and at your eye line, so you can just check every time you're doing a festival campaign for a film that you're on the right path. So you'll see there is a process. So there's evaluation. That's the first thing you must do first, is figure out, have you got a film that festivals want? And then you'll see there is prepare. And there's 4 aspects to the prepare process. It's not like, as I say, an overnight 5-minute job. This will take a bit of time, but it's not going to take up all your time. Having this checklist will obviously make it quicker and have less of a stress of where do we go next, what do we do, how do we get organized. There's quite a few things to do to prepare. And then it comes to researching, and then it comes to creating a strategy, and then doing your submissions and monitoring your strategy. So I'm going to unpack these parts all in one. And after I've finished each of these 4 sections, these 4 chunks, I'm going to pause and ask you for questions that come up in your head immediately, or you want clarifying, or something that just might need a bit more, a bit more clarity. So, as I mentioned from that example from that lovely client of mine, her goal was Sundance or Tribeca or Cannes or Berlin to launch her film, and they put a lot of work into it, and I admit they did, and they wanted to get distribution as well for the film. That was a goal. So the goals are very clear, and they'd made the film with a small budget, but it looked great, so all those good things. But they were rushing one step ahead. They were like, right, here's my goals. This is what I'm focused on. This is what I want. And that is great because it will come up. But it is the key thing is stepping back and taking a step away from your film and asking other people who are not attached to your film emotionally, or you, so not mum and dad and the fiance and the dog and the cat. Those people will give you the wrong type of feedback and tell you you're going to win an Oscar. You need to speak with people who are objective to the project and to you, that know about the festival world and how festival programmers operate. So obviously people like me, film festival strategist, also people who've done the festival circuit before that know how it all works. It's always good to get feedback from, and maybe publicists too, esteemed or established producers that know that kind of world. It's a good place to begin. And obviously festival programmers if you know any, but it's really important to get feedback that can help you look at it objectively, because you're so obviously immersed in it and you spent so much time on this film. It's hard to see things objectively. I mean, when I was writing my PhD, I have a PhD in film and audience research, hence the doctor. But I have a PhD and I didn't know what I was writing when I was first writing it. I had no idea, because it was just, I was so immersed in it and so focused on finding these patterns and, showing this research and evidence of new kind of trends in watching films by Tarantino. I didn't know anything else what I was writing. And the objective feedback just helped me knock it into shape and just give me that constructive critique. And also the good points about it too. And if it was going to be good enough to pass and all that kind of stuff. So it's really important that you get very thorough evaluation, people that can give you feedback that's constructive and helpful. So if you see patterns in feedback from, say, 5 people, me and some of the people, let's say 5 people in total, and they're all telling you that the film needs to be shorter, then it needs to be shorter. If one person says, oh, there could be a scene tweaked where a woman kisses a man, but no one else is saying that, then it's just, we look for the trends of the patterns. If they're all kind of saying the same thing, then it might need to be just shorter. If someone say it's not clear in these narrative aspects, a bit ambiguous in certain parts, can you make it more clearer? Then we go back to the edit and just fill in those gaps that could, hold you back from getting to festivals. Some might say this is a very commercial film, but it's not for festivals. So for example, if I saw it and thought, okay, this is very well made, it's certainly well acted, and it's a good length, but the issue is the narrative. So it's certainly, a very enjoyable film, but it's the kind of film festivals I've seen before. It's a predictable story, it's formulaic, it's more for a commercial market, and the festival programmers can guess what's happening next and the dialogue that's going to come next. That's not for festivals, that's for a commercial crowd. So you have to be very specific so you know what kind of product you have. Now, in that example of that lady that messaged me, sorry, that was the Rebekah client, she said to me, well, what kind of film have I made? Is it, you want it to do really high? And she had made a film that was very nice, but it wasn't groundbreaking or doing anything different with documentary form. So it was shaking things up quite a bit. Well, it tried to shake things up quite a bit, but it didn't quite do it in the way that big tier festivals or top tier would expect to see. It was more for smaller festivals. So when I told her it's the kind of movie you've got, and that will help you, really focus your goals and align your goals more strongly. And also what it will do is help you spend less money on wasting money on submission fees for the wrong festivals. So evaluation is crucial. Ask yourself to other people, have I got a film that film festivals want? If you want to be really specific, then say, have I got a film that festivals such as Sundance, Tribeca, Slamdance, and Cannes would want? That kind of question. So we really know what you want to achieve. So goals are obviously important, but it is crucial before we start spending money, before we start preparing, and before we start really streamlining our goals. what film have I made? What have I made? Is a really crucial thing. So evaluation, absolutely. Get it to feedback. Any questions on that part? I see there's comments. Okay. Oh no, that's from the Oxford Festival. Yes. So any comments on this part of the checklist on evaluation? Any comments? Any questions on that that you'd like to ask whilst we're on this part? Any questions? There's a delay, so if anything pops up, I will answer them. But please just feel free to put your questions in the comment chat, and I will answer them as we go along. So that's your key thing. It's evaluation. Have I got a film that festivals want? If the answer is yes, it's going to probably do quite well on the circuit. Then we go on to the next phase, preparation. If it's going to be more commercial, then we go to a sales agent. If it's a short that it's got a few problems and it's going to be difficult to get on the circuit, then have a think if you really want to do it. If it could be okay, then maybe put some money in, but just really be obviously strategic on where you submit to. So that brings us on to preparation. Now, preparation has the 4 parts to it, as you can see on the checklist. So next step would be preparing what you want to achieve from the circuit. That's your goals. So this is a time to be really specific. So now you know what you've got. If you had a goal being like, we want to launch at Sundance, but it's not a Sundance film, then scribble off that goal and replace it with what I really want to achieve is for my film to launch at a high-end regional film festival in the UK, or at one of the BAFTA and Oscar qualifying film festivals in the US, or something like that. Be really specific. So know what you want to achieve. So make that clear, and also think about what you want to achieve long-term from the festival circuit with your film. So, for example, is one of your goals networking? So, you know, we want to meet new people. We want to meet new people to collaborate with. Or is it not networking? You want to get the film seen just around the world? You know, so be very clear on what you want to achieve. But how do you want festivals to help you? And how can you help festivals with your film? So think of it as like a partnership. You've got a film that the documentary festivals are going to really love, and you can't wait to support and go on panels. You know, so make it clear what you want from it all. You want to be part of a panel. You want to win awards. You want nominations. What is most important? Think about what you want to achieve from the festival circuit with your film, and how it can help you on your journey. So be very specific and very clear. So if that goal at the top is I want to launch at Sundance, it's not a Sundance film, let's change that and be more realistic, so we have more of a better outlook and outreach when we approach festivals. Other thing to prepare is your budget. Now that is plural, that's a comma there, budgets. There are more than one budget to prepare for. There are actually 3. Okay, there's 3 budgets to prepare for. Can you see that? 3. So the first one is your film festival submission materials. Your film submission budget. So that would include people like me, so a consultant to help you strategize, and also money for submission fees, because they're obviously extra. And people say, how much should I spend? You could actually do a lot of submissions with £500 nowadays if you do things early and not leave it till last minute, and it will make your fees lower. Also, if you want more than that, you can spend more on that, but just make sure that you don't overspend to the wrong festivals for expensive price. So really be quite cutthroat with that money and make sure that you have enough to go further. Okay. Also, another budget is your materials budget. So materials budget is for your exhibition copy, so a DCP to screen your film at a festival. Some might want a Blu-ray, but it's very rare nowadays. It tends to be more DCP and electronic file. Also, what will come into that is making a trailer, making a poster, getting a press kit, even probably hiring a publicist if you want to go down that route of getting really, high-profile press and coverage of your film at festivals. That is important too. So put that into the budget as well to get press and to get recognition. And also in that budget will be money for an SRT file. That's your subtitling file. Some festivals in another language, say another foreign language, might need that to translate. Some might not. It depends. It's good to have it there anyway, so you have it ready to go if you need to, and it will be required from you. Some festivals can do it themselves in-house, but it will cost extra. So maybe it might be good to have it anyway for distribution down the line. But having it festivals right now is a good thing. as our T file. And you wouldn't need, obviously, to pay somebody for, you know, writing a synopsis. That comes from you. But it's also important that you do have a still photographer on set to have really nice stills. Otherwise, screenshots are fine. But just make sure there's money for the all-important trailer poster, DCP being made, subtitles, and that kind of thing. So all those kind of materials are very important to have money put aside for now. Also, is your third and final budget is your traveling budget. This is one that people forget. It's quite easy to forget because it comes last. It comes when you need to start traveling. Right now, it's limited what you can do. You can't obviously travel too far and wide. Right now, you can't go to the States without, you know, being a citizen. There's all sorts of silly bans. All these things are, you know, nonsense, and not all about the virus, but for other reasons. But what you can do is you can certainly, most countries now can travel locally. You can travel maybe just outside your country to certain other countries in Europe, potentially from the UK. So it's important that you know where you want to travel with your film. Can you afford to travel outside of the UK? Can you go as far as, you know, Australia, US when the borders open? Can you travel to somewhere maybe even closer? Would that be okay to travel to, like France, and have a Eurostar? How tight is your budget? Because this budget will probably come from your personal funds. So it's not just also put into account travel, just accommodation and a plane ticket or a train ticket. It's also money to live there, money to eat, drink, your festival pass, and also money to get around. Could you rely on Lyft and Uber? We have to rent a car. Would it be cheaper than doing that? Would it be easier just to walk? Can you walk everywhere? So really research where you're going. So you're in this area I'm right now in Texas, you've got to have a car. You can't walk anywhere because it's too big a state, same in Alaska and California. But other places like Bruges, you can walk everywhere. So think really hard as to where you want to travel with the film and why. So think about the why, go back to goals again. If you really want to travel to bigger festivals with it around the world, great. Just make sure there are funds for that. Because not all festivals can cover the cost of travel and accommodation nowadays. They can offer some, you know, discounts at partner hotels, but they certainly can't fund people flying from, you know, South Korea to the UK, let's put it that way. So make sure there is money available so you can do what you want. You can attend, you can submit, you can hire the right people and get the right materials. Okay, so that's that part. There's something in the chat. Is there comments? All right, just asking. Oh yes, hi Thomas. Okay, so I just see your message, Thomas. So nice to meet you. What type of films and genres would you consider more as commercial compared to film festival selections? Okay, so drama and horror, for example, they are obviously tend to be quite commercial, but only if the story is formulaic. So horror tends to fall into that kind of weird gap, which is kind of like they can get a lot of horror can be very commercial, so it's very by the numbers. It's predictable, it's straightforward, you know the twist, you can see it coming a mile off, and that's quite nice, easy viewing to watch in the theatre, like The Conjuring or something. There's a formula to it, you know what's going to happen next. There are some horrors that do not do that. So there was one called The Babadook that was a really fantastic film with a surprise twist, and also a film I represented called The Tokolosh. That was a South African horror film. Did Sitges, the biggest horror festival in the world, did Fright Fest, another big one in the world as well. That was a brilliant film because it set up to be something it wasn't. So it starts off like this type of story, like a ghost story, that turns into something else completely different, and it does it really well. So something that shows like a real strong, original, unique narrative that's not really been done before and isn't very accessible in terms of boring, predictable dialogue and not very well-rounded characters. Something that actually does something different with the genre that we're not used to seeing. That is an example of like a festival kind of film for that kind of horror genre than something compared to, say, The Conjuring, that is very, very commercial. The Conjuring is, you sit down, you're going to watch it, you're going to get scared here and there, you know the ending, you know what the twist will be, you can see it happening, but it's enjoyable and it's for a commercial mainstream audience. Something like The Tokolosh and The Babadook, they're all for more audiences that are more sophisticated, more festival friendly, not that accessible to like a massive audience, they have a smaller mainstream audience, but they're definitely festivals because they're showing a filmmaker that's taking a risk by shaking up and disrupting the genre and not playing it safe. Okay, is that clear? Let me know if it needs more clarification. So yes, so back to the preparation. So far, we got the goals really streamlined and focused. We've got the budgets now in the can. We've got 3 different spreadsheets, how to prepare, always a good thing. Next thing is preparing your materials. So now you've got the money to do this, make sure you get these done correctly. I would not advise to make your own poster on Canva. It does not look good. It does not look good. Honestly, just full stop, does not look good. What I would advise instead is going to professional designer. It's a good company we use called RWI Films. They do fantastic posters, you know, absolutely stunning. And they're very well made, very high end. And they're professional posters that you'd expect to see if you're walking into a theatre in a cinema. Okay, so make sure it's done and delegated to people that know how to do that best. Same as a trailer. You know, there's people that specialize in editing trailers, and that's for both shorts and features, not just features, it goes to shorts as well. Same with the poster. So now when you have these funds, make sure you spend it on the right people, as I say. Try and get discounts and deals where you can, they do exist. But if you go to a post-production house to make a DCP, it might be quite pricey. So do the shopping, get the quotes, and look at word of mouth and recommendations, look at the quality of their work to really figure out if they're the right match is crucial. Okay, that's what you need to prepare your materials. And also with your DCP, as I mentioned, going to post house will be expensive. There are people that do independently, and the prices have gone down for a DCP. They used to be very high and very, very expensive many years ago. But now it's a lot more flexible and a lot more, what's the word? Cheaper is one word, but it's more reasonable than what it used to be. You know, it's not cheap, but it's not going to be breaking the bank, or the budget will inflate. So get these materials prepared so that when you come to the next stage of preparation, when you go to your creating your Film Freeway page, you have all the right materials that you're going to need to make it stand out from the crowd. Now, there are other submission platforms on Film Freeway. I mean, I mentioned this in my blog last week, actually. It's now on my blog. But there are other platforms besides Film Freeway. Now, what you'll notice on these other platforms is, for example, there's Short Film Depot and Fast Home is 2 of them. One for documentaries called Doc Platform. These festivals don't have as many festivals on there as Film Freeway. Film Freeway has around 8,000 film festivals on that platform now. It really does dominate. The one that used to dominate before them was called Without a Box, and that closed down many years ago. But now we have Film Freeway just taking over the whole market, and it really is the go-to place. And these are the festival submission platforms I mentioned. You'll find that some of the same festivals are listed on there too to get extra kind of submissions, which is nothing wrong with that. It's just there's more kind of choice on Film Freeway. I mean, some submission platforms are exclusive to certain platforms. Fest Home has always been with Sitges, one of the biggest horror festivals in the world. And Short Film Depot has always been home to Clermont-Ferrand, which is one of the biggest short festivals in the world as well. So they always have their homes, and some festivals don't use any platforms and use their website, like South by Southwest, for example. So there are, you know, it's not all of them on Film Freeway yet, but a lot of them are. TIFF are on there, Cannes are on there, Sundance are on there, you know, so all of them, the key ones are on there, as well as, you know, other massive ones too that are qualifying. There's a lot of festivals on there. Some are not great, but some are really good. So it is quite a lot to go through. So it's important that you do prepare a really, really good Film Freeway profile for your film profile page. So when you go to Film Freeway, you have the option to upload stills, trailer, poster, synopsis, director's statement, and a bio of yourself. So make sure everything they want is on there. The more comprehensive and the more succinct, the better. So when I say comprehensive, I mean don't leave things blank. Put up the poster, put up, you know, you're allowed 9 stills, I believe. I think it's either 6 or 9 stills. So put that, either stills or really, really good screenshots that show really nice diversity of the film and, you know, it's strong, striking visuals. Add in some press if you've got any local press or mainstream press to put in there too, that it's getting, you know, got some coverage already. Put up the trailer, that's really crucial as well. And put on a very succinct synopsis. So don't do like, you know, a big essay. Just like 1 paragraph is enough, honestly. A 1 paragraph that doesn't give the game away, but really conveys the heart and soul of the story and shows what kind of tone it is, what kind of genre it is, and how it's doing something different than being run of the mill. Okay, that's really crucial. And not doing something formulaic. I want to see things that are fresh, taking up the genre of the stories. in your director's bio, keep that short, succinct, just highlight the key things in your career and where you got to now in like a paragraph, and make sure you put a photo that is a headshot, not like a selfie on set, more of a, you know, a headshot that is professional when you see on LinkedIn. Okay, that's really crucial. And the statement is a written piece of work which explains why the film was made in the way it looks and why it needed to be made and what the message is. But don't be too crass. Just put something like, you know, the vision for this film looks the way it does because of this reason, and it's a personal story, and my aim and objective for people to get out of this is X. You know, something very, very, you know, to the point and reined in like that is enough. We're going to put, and then you're good to go. And obviously upload the film. That's crucial. Make sure it's, you know, as I say, doesn't go on for hours of writing. Keep the writing short and snappy, and keep the visuals striking. Keep the poster incredible. Keep the trailer, you know, punchy, emotional punch to it, and make sure it really draws them in. Because they only got a few minutes to like look at this and like think, oh, okay, nice poster, nice this, nice that. That's going to help you in good stead. The same goes for the other platforms like Short Film Depot and the other one I mentioned, Realport, for example. Sorry, not Realport, and Fest Home. These ones are expecting you to look good impression as well, but they're a little bit not as easy to use as Film Freeway, not as user friendly. So start with Film Freeway to get a wide range of festivals. Anything you can't find on there, Google, and the website of the festival will take you to where you need to submit. Okay, so that's really, really crucial. I just check the chat. I've seen Babadook, so I get your point. Okay, good. You're very welcome. Yeah, Babadook is fantastic. The Conjuring is definitely not the same kind of film. I think there's 3 Conjurings, isn't there? So, you know, again, it's a franchise. So you're very welcome. Thank you, Thomas, and appreciate your question. So that's that. And so summarize, first of all, evaluate the film. Have I got a film that festivals want? Then prepare, set the goals, make them really streamlined. If you're not going to do Sundance, don't put it on the goals. Prepare your budgets, make sure you've got money to submit, to hire someone like me, to get your materials sorted, your DCPs, your trailer poster, and your SRT file, and also plan final budget, that being traveling to festivals where you're allowed to travel. And then get things made and set up Film Freeway. Then it comes to the second but final part, which is researching and actually creating your festival strategy and your spreadsheet. This process does not take 5 minutes. I wish it did. It doesn't take 5 minutes at all. It's a slow burner. But when you get the hang of it, it gets quicker, okay? So researching can be quite overwhelming. Obviously, I've mentioned there's 8,000 festivals, not all good, and actually not all festivals on Film Freeway. Some of them are these award competitions that I wouldn't recommend. There are other things, you know, that are on there too than just a physical festival. But the way to research, I find, is to go backwards. So if you have got a film, even if you haven't got a film that is like Sundance quality, start researching what festivals are the big ones. And you can do that on Film Freeway. They have on the left, there is a section that says Academy Award qualifying festivals. There's a whole load of them in there, which are that level and tier, that BIFA qualifying, BAFTA qualifying, Oscar qualifying. They're the ones that are going to be really hard to get into if you've got a really good film, because they're hard to get into. If you've not got a good film for them, that's not going to be what they're looking for, then it's not going to get into that either. So that gives you some really good landscape on what the big festivals are and which ones are going to be tough to get into, which ones you should avoid if you've not got a film for them and not waste money. That's a good place to research. Also, if you Google Oscar qualifying festivals and BAFTA qualifying festivals, you'll find a list on there, and there'll be some of them will be quite the same. There's a very good PDF document you can get to download, so you know which ones are the big ones, the hard ones to get into. You can then work backwards. Also on Film Freeway, they have things like the top 25 festivals by Movie Maker, that are the coolest ones to attend or worth their entry fee. They're quite useful for researching what are legit festivals. Also, getting feedback on festivals your friends and family members have been to is also good. Obviously, we strategize for you, so we can do it all for you with the right ones on there to get results. And finally, is looking at feedback from communities like Facebook and, you know, Facebook kind of groups and Raindance to get some more clarity as well. Also, what's helpful is streamlining to your niche. So if you have a music documentary feature, it's a very good idea to research festivals which focus purely upon music documentaries or music films, You've got Duck and Roll in UK that is brilliant. You've got Jerome Film and Indie Music Festival, which is all about, you know, films that have got music in them or films about artists. You've got Boomtown Film Music Festival, which is about music and film. You've got Woodstock, you know, so there's loads of festivals that you can choose from. And the way to do that is to research. And that is on, again, Google is one way, looking at reputable, you know, festival websites, myself. There's many areas, but Google's the best place to start. Typing in a key search will really help you a lot. Okay. When you've got that research done, which might take time, then you can then start planning your strategy. Also, go back to your goals. So if you want to just really, you know, home in on the UK and start doing, you know, UK festivals, look at all the festivals that are based in UK. Look at the reviews on their websites, reviews on Film Freeway. Look at word of mouth, you know, local, is it any good? Look at how high end the festival is. Who's connected with, is it audience festival? So start doing the Google research, is always good. Which refer to Rain Dance as well. They're very good on that to give pointers on good festivals for their students. That can be free of charge, free resources. And obviously myself. Am I still here? Am I still there? Yes, I am still here. Sorry, someone tried to call me. I got up my PC's being just worked on for spring clean. Someone tries to call me when I'm in a important presentation. Probably them. So yes, so it's important that when researching, that you do your research thoroughly. So look at, you know, ask people their experience at these festivals you've come across, or just generally recommendations from them. Looking online at which festivals are big BAFTA qualifying festivals, which ones are the big Oscar qualifying festivals, looking at which ones are going to be really hard to get into, if you've got a film for them or not, looking at Rain Dance's website, looking at community websites. Also Google the BAFTA qualifying festivals of the British Council. That's very helpful there. Look at their directory. Also festivalfocus.org is good for looking at festivals too. Look at Film Freeway, but just to the left of you, which talks about groups of festivals. For example, something like there's Visionaries festivals for visionary filmmakers. There's short film festivals, the best of those. There's documentaries. There's ones, music videos, you know, the whole lot. So that is useful to a degree, just to research. Okay. Never ever go on Film Freeway and just start typing in the top of the search Sundance, and then going to Sundance and having all these festivals come up and just going like throwing them into the cart and checking out and not getting anywhere, because that's a scattergun approach. That's not a strategy. That's just throwing it out there and not getting anything back. Okay. So it takes careful planning and takes a bit of research, takes a little bit of time. But when you know what kind of film you've got and what you want and what how festivals can help you, then you can then match to the right ones. So for example, when I create for my clients with my team a strategy, we always look at the film. So we always analyze how festival programmers would respond to it from their point of view, look at what the challenges would be, what the obstacles would be, but also what the advantages of the film are and where best to place it. So for example, yesterday I spoke with a client, we had a consultancy, and he had a very good coming of age film, and it was beautifully shot and it was well acted, nice little film, very good casting of three, you know, teenagers getting their GCSE results in the middle of up north in Leeds in Yorkshire, in the beautiful Yorkshire Dales, and it was a really nice little film. It wasn't doing anything groundbreaking or telling anything new in that kind of coming of age genre. It was just very enjoyable. It was believable. It was well acted. There were some parts of acting that were a bit forced here and there. That wasn't that natural. But it was a good little film. It'd be best suited with those obstacles to festivals that are UK based, that are based up north in the UK, and also festivals which focus upon short films, and those which focus upon youth. Now, because the film had some like drinking and smoking and vomiting in it, that wasn't going to be the easiest sell for youth festivals that really are a little bit more like, you know, for kids audiences, because it's not really for kids, it's for youth and older. So I had to really make sure the strategy didn't include festivals that were going to be for a young audience and more for a youth audience. And it also included a lot of festivals that were up north, because a lot of those festivals champion local filmmakers and have programs for local filmmakers to really help the filmmakers streamline. So that's how we did that festival strategy. It's going to do well. I know it will. I've done one like this before. But that's the way to do it and to get the results. I have a lot of films from South Africa, as I mentioned when we first started speaking on the Masterclass. And these filmmakers are brilliant filmmakers. And sometimes, though, they can make films that are a little bit too local. So they resonate more with the African and South African audience. Therefore, the whole festival campaign focuses purely upon festivals in Africa and South Africa, because they're the ones that are going to get it, understand it more. And also festivals that celebrate South African filmmaking that are not in South Africa. But predominantly, it's going to be that country because it has an audience that will get it, the ones that won't. So that film was not well suited for more general festivals that focused upon independent films around the world, because it wasn't going to click with the audience. They wouldn't get it. It wouldn't resonate. It would be difficult to program. So I saved them money by thinking with the right festivals and getting the right kind of results. Okay. Any questions on this chunk? It's a bit of a bigger chunk, obviously, to do. It's not like a 2-minute job, and it will take time, as I've said. Is there any questions on this part that need clarifying whilst we're still here? No. Okay, well, we'll go on to the next one. We can ask more at the end, obviously, any kind of question. So the final part then is when all that's been done, you've researched, you've got the plan, you've got the right festivals, you're confident you can get some kind of result from it, or you can be the right strategy. Then you do the submissions. Then you submit and then see what comes back. Now, this is a time-consuming process that requires patience of a virtue. It is not an overnight process. So when you submit to festivals, you won't get an answer within a week. It will be longer than that. There normally can be something like 2 to 3 months where you might start hearing back, because they have to allow time to watch all the films and do their, judging and all that kind of thing. It does take time. So be prepared to have to wait a while and see what comes from it. Normally it can take, the earliest might be 2 months. If you do a late deadline, you might hear back, 2 months later. It could be that if you do early bird deadlines, it'll be hearing back maybe 4, 5, 6 months later. It just depends on the festival. You'll find during this process that every single festival is different. There is no big golden rule book that every single festival is given that they must adhere to. They work in their own ways. They organize things differently, communicate differently, they have different systems. So every festival does not organize in the same way, which is totally normal and totally fine. You just have to make sure you keep up. For example, some festivals will email you a whole list of what they want, point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4. And that's quite simple. Some will ask you to upload via a certain portal. Some will ask you to send a physical copy of a DCP. They all vary. Some will not let you do physical, some will not let you do digital, only physical DCPs. Some will just accept both. So everything's different. So it's important that you do have some help and support on the journey, someone help when you do this and overseeing with you, so that you can organize all the materials that you need and keep up. So it is, when you go to a lot of festivals, it is a lot of time. Also with your money, if you submit to festivals early bird deadlines, you'll save money. So back to that example of that filmmaker with his film I spoke with yesterday. He said to me, I want festivals that are going to be next year, not this year. And I want to have enough money to do lots of festivals, and only got £500. I was like, that's no problem. So I managed to do festivals that are going to open up next year, also ones that are open now for next year, their early bird deadline. So you'll see there are deadlines that are the super early bird, regular, late, and extended. They're normally what you'll get. Some might just do, early bird, regular, late. But what they all mean is different price points most of the time. Some don't charge fees, but that's rare. Some just increase it like £1 or more. Some increase it a lot. Again, they're all different how they work. So be prepared for everything changing when you come to every festival, because they differ. Super early bird is super cheap. So it'll be very, very low fee. It could be like, a couple of pounds, if that. Early bird will be also cheap. A bit more money than super early bird, obviously. It'll be a bit more than that, but it won't be expensive. Regular will start to creep up a little bit more, to be a little bit pricier. Late will be probably more likely expensive, and extended will be very, very expensive. It could be up to $100. But again, they all differ. So they might not all be that same price, but they're going to increase over time. So to save all the pennies, submit as early as possible. There's also a rumor and a myth: if you submit to a late deadline, the film won't get watched. That is not true. It might occur to bigger festivals and different people who watch it at different periods of the submission process. But if you submit to a late deadline to, say, a smaller boutique, really good January festival, it'll get watched. For example, a big BAFTA qualifying festival, the Aesthetica Short Film Festival, they watch everything. They close their deadline 31st of May, and they watch every single film. And they watch them several times, and you're informed in August, September. So it works in that way. So they are very ethical, they're very transparent. All the time with shorts is very ethical. Everything that comes and gets watched, there's not enough time. We've done lots of alert deadlines and got seen. The only kind of difference is the price is more than what it was regular early bird and super early bird. Okay, so that's how you monitor it. And that's something you monitoring strategy. Make sure you submit early to make it cheaper. And then when you get the selections, they start coming in. Look at what's coming in. So if you've got a horror film, then which festivals are taking it? Are you getting more genre festivals, or are you getting more general festivals? But are you getting, maybe, is there more of a ratio where it's going to be more festivals in genre in Europe and UK, or is it mainly the USA? So look at what kind of festivals are taking it and where. So if you're getting more genre festivals than you are general festivals, it means keep submitting to genre film festivals. And if you are having festivals in the genre, in the horror world, that are more in America, keep submitting to America. So that's where the audience is, and that's who's resonating with it more. If you're getting less festivals in the UK, maybe don't do as many submissions for UK, and if you get asked or people want to see it at certain festivals, would be my point of view on that one. Look at the patterns. For example, I worked on a film that started off didn't start off very well. It got quite a few no's, and I was like, it's going to get something because it's a good film. And also it stars Lawrence Fishburne's son. It's a female director. It's about mental health, and it's a very LA kind of film. And sure enough, eventually it got loads of festivals that were all in America and that focused upon female directors, focused on mental health, and focused purely upon American filmmakers. It didn't do well outside of America, but that was expected. And that's where it kept winning awards. So we just kept doing more submissions at really good independent film festivals that celebrated American films in the US. So that's how we managed that one. So that's how you monitor. Look at the patterns. Look at who was taking it, look at who's not taking it, and what part of the world is taking it. And you'll see then who's getting, where it's getting more kind of love and more acceptance. Okay. So that's that checklist. So I'm going to put in the chat and in the comments bit if I can. I think I can make it. Can I put this in the chat? If you can do that, Andy, is my website. So if you go to my website, which is thefilmfestivaldoctor.com, if you click on the shop, you'll find the link to download this free checklist. I'd love you to do so, because it's always good to have this beside you to keep checking as you go along, not to go off kilter, but also to know how you can start and where you need to end up. And it's very helpful to have that on your in your handbag, call it. Thank you for that, Andy. I really appreciate that. So questions, and there's quite a lot there, and I hope it's clear. But please now ask away anything you want, and I'll give you the answer.
So there might be a bit of a lag, but we'll see if we get any questions. I've got a few questions just to sort of shoot the time in the meantime, and don't be shy. So you could also leave covering letters on Film Freeway. I don't know if you can. Is it worth doing that or not? I'm quite curious to hear your answer on that, because I've heard two varying sort of ideas on this from as a festival organizer myself. I always read them. I find them quite interesting, but I know a lot of people don't. And I'm just curious whether they add any value, or you think they add value or not. So
great question. Again, great question. There is a big debate about cover letters. Now, to be honest, I say, if you want to do one, then please do one and say yes. But there's going to be a 50-50 chance it may or may not get read. And obviously you do, which is great, and I know lots of people that do. But some festivals haven't got the time because they've not got enough staff to read them all and then watch the film. It's a bit too much. So if you do put one in, it's not going to sway them if they don't like the film. And if you don't put one in, it won't hinder you either. So it's really a nice 50-50 there. So if you want to write one, then do make sure you bespoke it. So what I mean by that is when you write the cover letter, don't do a copy and paste each one going, hi, made the film for nothing. It's a passion project, please screen it. That's not the way to write it. The way to write it is to say, first of all, thank you for viewing the film. I really appreciate it. And we're excited to hopefully be part of the festival. And then put in that you will support the film and you will attend the festival. You will, virtually or in person, wherever it's going to be. And you will, really get people to see it. You'll promote it, you'll lobby it, and you'll be really committed to get an audience for the film, whatever platform it's going to be on. And then also mention why it will be a really good fit for that festival. Say, for example, it's an ethnographic documentary film festival. Then explain why your film, which is exactly like that, will be a really good fit. So refer to previous programs, refer to previous themes, refer to previous kind of styles that they've had in their programs is really important. One of the things actually to mention in that research section, researching is also looking at the kind of previous films that festivals screen, if it's similar to yours, and their themes and what they're all about, they look for. On the Film Freeway page in their About section, they tell you what they're about, and also on the festival's website, they also tell you that too. They kind of tell you what they're looking for already. Looking for the best cutting edge, daring, independent feature films from all over the world, looking for films by women that are feminist stories. They kind of tell you there what they're looking for. Looking at previous programs, looking at trailers of previous films really helps just get an idea of the quality that they show and the kind of films that they enjoy.
Another thing that you mentioned that I'm quite curious about is attending film festivals. And this comes down to goals, I think, like you said earlier, where sometimes you go along for networking. Should you attend the film festivals, all of the film festivals that you're planning to sort of submit to, or not? I'm quite curious on that one, because I mean, it depends on the goal, I guess, but I don't know if you have any thoughts on whether you should do one or the other.
So it depends on the goal, and it depends on your budget. So if you're very focused on, networking, and it's best to go to festivals which are, kind of filmmaker friendly. So that, and also ones which have industry programs. So there's going to be industry days. Like a good example is Setica. They have filmmaker networking, a dedicated kind of, mixers. They have loads of filmmakers attend who are always around. They have industry panels, and they have industry conferences that you can attend. So absolutely, without a doubt, that would be one to really help achieve those goals. You'd be good people there. You'd meet, people that you want to talk to long term, probably build relationships up with. So that's like a filmmakers festival. If it's a festival that's more for, say, local audiences, that might be limited in terms of the filmmakers that are going to be there. And it'll be, networking with locals. It could become fans, but maybe not so much like new collaborators and new potential clients, or new potential work opportunities. So that might be difficult in terms of getting that goal achieved in networking. It'll be networking with just like the locals and not with the film industry. So that makes you really focus on your goals to be specific. If you're wanting to network, well, who with? Is it producers, directors? If you're an actor, is it casting agents that might be there, or other producers that could see you being a really good role? Or if you were there with the film, they would see and go like, right, you're perfect for this role, with the producer and the writer. So these kind of people are very important. So really specify again, make clear who do you want to connect with and where. So that can help you afford that. So it's not every festival if it doesn't help you achieve your goals. Festivals are great for, all kind of exposure, locally and in regionally, internationally, with the outreach they have. But it goes back down to attending. Will I get a lot from this to achieve the goals? Will there be lots of filmmakers there? Will there be industry to learn from? If it's winning awards for vanity, then great. But is it worth spending a lot of money to travel? If I can travel there.
Sure. And also, just in terms of attending film festivals, I mean, I guess when you're coming up with your strategy, it makes sense to actually sort of suss out some of these festivals, go along and see what sort of films you might align with in terms, so you've got something else other than just the festivals themselves. You've got a kind of a film buddy, if you like, that you might play well alongside, or you don't want to be a carbon copy, obviously, but
no, exactly. I mean, one of the things about that, in that research section on the checklist, it is really important that when you do your research, you obviously look at it online, looking at the previous programs and the themes and what the festival's about, looking at what previous films they've screened, look at trailers, look at what awards it's won and where. Here's just patterns you go along. But what is also really important is part of that research actually is going to festivals, you know, and just going there as an attendee and thinking, what's it all about? What's this world like? It's a whole new world to make it a movie because it's celebrating the film. So it's no like, you know, tension on set, whatever. It's a lot different environment. You know, there's an abundance of opportunity at festivals. There's loads of stuff you can achieve at a festival. It's a really great experience, and it actually helps you, you know, think about who you are and what you want. So a good example of that is actually here in Texas at the at the Lone Star Film Festival in Fort Worth. That's run by the person who created the Austin Film Festival, which is a big festival here in Texas, Oscar-qualifying festival. And that was a great local festival. Great people that attend. This year, Richard Linklater and Ethan Hawke are here to pick up a Lifetime Achievement Award. You know, so it's quite interesting. And it's great people that go. And there was a film student there who'd finished a film. It was screening as part of the Texas Student Shorts program for local filmmakers. And he was like very sweet. He was quite shy when he got there. He'd never been to a festival before, never been as far as Fort Worth before. He just lives in Dallas, been nowhere else but Dallas. You know, one of those sweet people. There's never been any further than Texas. He was like, what's this all about? He was like getting really like scared about it. And what was brilliant was that as he got into the festival, like, you know, world and started to socialize, he came out of his shell and he was the funniest, nicest guy. And he was going through a transition because he'd been no further than Texas, and just hadn't been to a festival before, didn't know what they were. And we saw him develop and evolve and grow in these 4 days and became like, you know, the star of the festival. And he changed in himself because he realized he has the confidence to talk about his film. He can, you know, talk about what he wants to do and be ambitious. And it all came out of a film festival. He wouldn't do that at home, you know, so it was a brilliant journey. And it's one of my favorite kind of stories to tell because he's a legend. He actually lives not far from where I am now. It's so funny. And no one knew he was that funny until he came out of his shell. So it's great, really great. I think there is a question there. I think I see something pop up. Any questions? No? Any final questions? I think you might be on mute, Andy. I think he's on mute. Is he on mute?
I'm on mute. Yeah, keep me quiet. I don't think there are any final questions, so we will probably wrap this up unless anyone's frantically typing. We'll give you a few more seconds, but I'd just like to say thank you so much, Rebekah, for coming along this evening here, our time. Probably a very different time where you are. Just to sort of, you know, give these tips, and I hope the filmmakers out there definitely take something away from this and start to sort of strategize more.
Exactly. Yes, that's the key thing. You need to have a strategy. Never go in without a strategy, and always plan in this way. The more thorough and the more well researched you are, the better chance of results you have, and also the more honest you are about your film. Detach emotionally. See it now as a product for film festivals, and you will get the results.
I think that's a good note to end on, because I've done the festival circuit as a filmmaker as well, and actually the trick is getting an honest feedback, because people are like, well, your film's, yeah, it's great, I love it, you know, but they're not really. You've got to really drill down, and exactly. I think you've got to take your ego out of the question. Obviously you think you made a brilliant film, and it's not very pleasant to hear that it might have this issue with it, but you should really take those issues on board, because they will, as Rebekah says, help your strategy. There's still probably a market for that film. You just need to know, you know, how to work it, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. No, completely.
Okay, on that note, well, thank you very much. And well, in terms of online, I think we're done this year for online talks and film screenings, but we are going live. We actually have a live festival tomorrow, which is incredibly exciting. So we're looking forward to meeting all the filmmakers and audience members coming down. So if you're coming to Oxford, we can't wait to meet you. So yeah, take care, everybody, and we will see you soon. Okay.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.